Hello everyone and welcome back to a very special episode of Jose's Totally Rad Life. Today is Wednesday, June 3rd, 2026, and I could not be any more excited than I am right now. Today's video is going to be a get ready with me video. We're going to be getting ready for the Masters of the Universe movie. So my dad got early access tickets to go see it tonight, which is like 2 or 3 days before its release. Fingers crossed this movie does well, but if you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. Alright, just for product placement, I do use Dr. Squatch body soap. For my hair, I use Not Your Mother's curling shampoo and conditioner, and then this is what I use to actually style my hair. I've got this hair pick and these brushes here. So this is a look at all the products that I use. And here is the t-shirt I'm going to be wearing tonight for the movie. We got my belt, my acid washed jeans, and my socks. And this is a look at what my hair looks like before I shower. Alright, right off the bat, I'm recording this voiceover on Thursday, June 4th. So Masters of the Universe comes out tomorrow, but I got early access tickets. A question I get asked quite often is how I do my mullet, right? How I style my mullet. So the first thing that I do after I get out of the shower is I comb through my hair and I dry it off with a towel. After I do that and comb through my hair, I take some of this mousse. I bought it at Target. It's called Not Your Mother's, and then I let it expand before I put it in my hair. And then I just work it into my hair. Make sure that it really gets deep down in the roots to give it that mullet look. You know, a mullet has always been business in the front, party in the back, and this channel is meant to be a homage to the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. So I style my hair this way, and this is the final result. Now, as many of you know, Back to the Future is one of my favorite movies. Obviously, due to physics, we cannot time travel. It's not possible. Now, you're probably going to hear your dad, or for some of you, your grandpa, even, maybe, talking about He-Man, and you might be asking yourself, what's the big deal with He-Man, Why is everyone like, He-Man's back? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you a brief and condensed history lesson on He-Man's 40-year journey back to the silver screen. My dad grew up watching the original Filmation Masters of the Universe in the 1980s. And, Dad got married. Mom and Dad had me. And so for quite a few years, my dad's Masters of the Universe collection sat in storage in my grandparents' garage. I'm very happy to say that a very large percentage of what you see here actually belonged to my dad. And these are things from his childhood. So, without further ado, here is the 40-year journey of Masters of the Universe to the silver screen. These are the original DVDs from the 2000s that my dad showed me. And without further ado, I'm going to take you back to 1980. For some of you, your first introduction to He-Man may have been on Robot Chicken, Family Guy, or the Four Non-Blondes, What's Up? And I said, hey, yeah, 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 meme. But in 1982, Roger Sweet and Mark Taylor brought the Lords of Power toy line to market. This would later go on to become the Masters of the Universe toy line. In 1983, Filmation brought He-Man and the Masters of the Universe to the small screen. Now, up until this point, in the He-Man mythology, there was no Prince Adam. He-Man was He-Man all the time, and there also was no Cringer. You got a lot of the core characters, like Manny Faces, Fisto, Mechaneck, and Mossman. In 1985, Filmation released The Secret of the Sword, which is She-Ra's debut. The original Filmation series of Masters of the Universe only ran for 2 seasons and had 130 episodes. So She-Ra bridged the gap, and they even had their own Christmas special, tying in Masters and She-Ra. In 1986, He-Man and She-Ra were brought to the small stage with He-Man and She-Ra Power Tour. This was a touring stage act where you could see He-Man and She-Ra and many of your favorite characters from Masters in a live action setting. Speaking of live action, next on our timeline is the Masters of the Universe Thanksgiving Day float. Here on your screen, you can see Dolph Lundgren and Castle Grayskull, He-Man, Skeletor, and Beastman. You got a lot of fan favorites like Snout Spout. Man, what a time. And then you have She-Ra. And keep in mind, this is the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade in 1987, which is going to perfectly lead into our next segue. The 1987 Masters of the Universe live-action movie debuts with Dolph Lundgren. Now, obviously, they wanted to capitalize on the popularity of He-Man while they still could, while He-Man was at his peak in popularity. This movie attempted to do what a lot of modern movies have done, but it did not connect with the core fan base and audience. There were some elements to this movie that got it right, that got He-Man right, but part of the reason why a majority of the audience this movie was made for felt alienated is because many of the core characters from the Masters of the Universe Filmation series were missing. Characters like King Randor and Queen Marlena, Orko. Instead, you got Gwildor, and then He-Man, Teela, and Man-at-Arms go to Earth. And understandably so, this movie, it was a very tall order to make this movie back in 1987. You know, expectations were very high. The budget for this movie could not possibly have given fans the proper Masters of the Universe theatrical live-action treatment that they wanted. So instead, they had to settle for this. A bunch of characters that they are not familiar with. Due to budget constraints, the movie is set on Earth, so the fantastical world of Eternia is gone and not present. Despite its shortcomings, I do love the 1987 Masters of the Universe movie. So in 1990 to 1991, they attempted to revamp He-Man with the New Adventures of He-Man. In 2002, Mike Young Productions and Mattel released He-Man and the Masters of the Universe on Cartoon Network. This is 20 years removed from the original series and is their second attempt to introduce He-Man to a new generation. In 2020, Mattel launches the Masters of the Universe Origins toy line, a retro figure in the vintage style. In 2021, Netflix launches a 3D animated reboot of He-Man for kids called He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. This is aimed at little kids and is the third attempt since its creation that they have tried to reintroduce He-Man. I don't think it landed with audiences. I mean, it may have. I don't know. I don't have kids, but I think it's cool. Also in 2021, Netflix and Kevin Smith launched Masters of the Universe Revelation, nearly 40 years after the 1983 Filmation series. At this point, He-Man is still kind of a niche audience, has a very specific age demographic and fan base. I enjoyed Masters of the Universe. Up next on our timeline, in 2024-2025, there was a Stranger Things and Masters of the Universe crossover at retail. You have Hordak and a original character named Hellfire Man. I think this is so cool. Bridging Stranger Things and really getting in on the whole throwback 80s nostalgia thing. I think it's awesome. Lastly, that brings us to 2026 with the release of the Amazon MGM Mattel live-action Masters of the Universe reboot. I waited 20 years of my life for a moment like this. I've never seen anything like it. Just all in, going crazy, promoting He-Man again like it's 1985. I went and saw the movie last night, and I will be doing a movie review. If you have enjoyed this video, I would encourage you to please like this video, comment down below, and subscribe. Thank you very much.